Hello everyone, Seedlink here, back with another Company of Heroes 2 replay. I actually uploaded this kind of around the time that I wanted to, but I realized I shouldn't. I kind of want to wait even more, just to kind of space out my uploads a little bit, but I'm not certain exactly when these replays are going to go away, because for whatever reason in Company of Heroes 2, you can't actually save that many replays. When you do save them, they only save for a temporary amount of time. But this is the second game I had with OKW, and it was part of a bit of a odd success string. This game, looking back at it, was actually a lot closer than I thought it was. Because basically my opponent went for really heavy on the defense, and I could even tell that just from the start. I knew he was going to go for this, the KV-8 flamethrower tank. He's got some shock troops, but the biggest thing is these. Heavy machine guns, deals 5% increased suppression, and then pack guns, better armor penetration, and then KV-1 tank has 4% increased defense. I'm not actually certain if that... Yeah, that doesn't actually apply to that. Interesting, because that's the KV-8 and this is the KV-1, so that actually didn't apply here. Because that is actually kind of interesting, because the way that the KV-1 flamethrower works is that it's kind of like a slower, more powerful version of the Wehrmacht half-track with the flame projectors, where it will kill infantry within seconds, but other tanks, it just is terrible. And because it's a heavy tank, it moves very slowly, but it's very defensive. So it can just tank a bunch of shots. So it kind of just goes in, flames some guys, goes back, and heals back up, and it can never die. And there was a lot of squad wipes this game. Now, one other thing I've been trying not to do too much is get this. This is something you can cap. It's kind of like a worse version of the Universal Carrier and the military truck, because it's a 210. It's very, very fast, but it's incredibly weak, and it's kind of pointless even repairing it, especially because you have to keep these guys kind of further back in a defensive position in order to repair it. So I find it kind of pointless. So I made sure to get a field hospital as quickly as possible. I woke up a little bit ago and I just ended up just finished sweeping my room after a long night shift. So if I sound a bit sick, that's why. It's not so much just sick, it's just kind of tired. So he's got 4 conscripts and engineer. I've got 3 Volksgrenadiers, Pioneer Squad, and another Volksgrenadier coming up. And he's just building next building now, and so am I. One of the things is that this is kind of annoying when you want to tell it to build something, because it's slow and it constantly has to turn around. Something you'll see me do quite a few times this game is not even trying to take resources, just trying to prevent him from getting resources. Like this one here, if I take this one, it won't do anything other than just stop him from getting the resource. I won't get it. Oh yeah, and this was one of the key moments here. So I went in here somehow. So I got in here, right? I went through the back here, got into a doorway. And now here, I retreat, and I'm stuck behind here. I don't actually know how to, circle around. If I did, I would. But, as you can see, I'm, stuck behind here. And you can see I actually retreat, and it immediately stops, because there's no retreat path. I think this tank should not actually be here. So yeah, this guy just ends up dying off, which was a pretty big blow considering how early it is in the game to get a squad wipe like that. And it tells me to retreat, and I did a few times. He didn't notice it, and I said it just didn't do anything. Interesting angle he's holding with the machine gun here. So now I know he has a machine gun there. What I decided to do is go and take this point. Now, because this is so close to the bunker, you want to always... Because these points here are so close to the enemy's bunkers, you want to make sure that they're just barely, like, tiptoeing into it. So quite a few times he's had better VP control this game. Not as much as I thought he did. But yeah, for whatever reason, this one here takes like this. And I think that the only... I've pretty much come to the conclusion that in this game, they purposely do that so that you can, like, cut off certain things. Because otherwise, cutoffs would pretty much never happen in this game. But I think that that's iffy, to say the least. Like, I understand, like, you want to make use of that, but making use of it kind of just for the heck of it is kind of annoying. I'm not certain, but I think I retreated this guy. Oh no, I've got a squad coming from the side. That's what happened. And I mollied him. And I see this pack gun. And I decided to just chase him down. I've got all my guys over there, so he's taking this real quick. I'm getting too close to his base. I don't plan on stealing the pack, so I'm fine just giving it to him. So I just didn't want him capping anymore, especially the gas. I was gonna build mines here. I didn't expect another machine gun here, since I knew there was one on this side as well. So I just retreated everyone, because they're already suppressed. Got a 222 that I can scatter around for any more units on this side. But I know that he's got a machine gun here, and he's likely got a machine gun last seen on this side, but he could be anywhere, and he is in fact moving him to the right. So I'm pretty outnumbered here with 4 conscripts and an engineer to my 3 Volksgrenadiers, engineer, and a machine gun. He's got double machine gun and a pack. Or a Zis. I do have a 222, but a 222 dies in like pretty much one hit from a Zis. So he's taking the right, and I'm slowly but surely going to start to take the left again. And I've scattered around the whole place and know that, okay, he's basically only on the right side. Now this is the moment that kind of annoyed me a little bit. Or actually, not quite yet. He did actually build a fuel cache here, which I'm actually I'm surprised about. I've never actually seen people do these, but this is actually a pretty nice ability here. Because it just gives you a little extra resource. Like, you get 3 fuel here, and now he's getting 6. And he has a fuel here, and he almost got a fuel here as well. So that could have been very big, especially when he's trying to go for the KVA. It's pretty expensive, and you need the max level tier in order to get it. Now you'll see here, I actually go right for the max level headquarters, and the reason for that is that if I know he's going 2 things. First of all, I know that he's going to go for the KV8 later on, and second of all, I already know that he has a Zis gun. So if he has a Zis gun, there's no point in me making like a Panzer II or a Puma. Like, by the time that those would be able to force a unit to retreat, his packs would just kill it in 1 or 2 shots. And I can tell because he has machine guns and packs, he's playing very defensive. Now, I had this guy in a very sort of defensive position. And what really annoyed me here is that it's very low, and okay, it was just a single conscript shot killed it. That's what really annoyed me. Is like it straight up just died to pretty much nothing. I even have this point here, which is cut off. Now this cut off makes sense to me. It's you have to go under a bridge to it. But I've got a machine gun here, just suppressing this guy. And here I knew that he had a anti-tank gun here. And these things can't retreat. They're super slow. And that's why I actually never like to use them and why I didn't actually pick any up this game. So anytime that I could get a chance to go after one, I went after it. Now I got suppressed here by my machine gun, so I was like, okay, I'm going to just take this area. And this kind of goes to my point before, is that this point here, just simply taking this, cut him off completely. He doesn't get resources from this. He doesn't get resources from this. He does get the VPs because it doesn't matter if the VPs are cut off or not. But like this cuts off all of this, right? And that can make sense for like this area. Like let's say the VP took control of this maybe. Or like let's say that this went over here and then the gas cut off like here, right? So like you could get the gas from here, but you wouldn't be able to get this resource. That would make sense to me. But like this cuts off through this area. It just feels like kind of weird, especially since the road is right here. And this doesn't even connect up to the edge of the road, which seems even weirder. So like if you were to control this area and this area, you would get the resources from both. Which that just seems kind of stupid to me, honestly. So I built a bit of a sneaky mine deep in his territory. Conscript's very low. And all I really cared was just not only getting a bunch of resources, but cutting him off from resources. Because what I knew he was doing is that he was playing very, very defensive with packs, or with Zisses and machine guns. And those players just don't know how to go aggressive. They're just like, okay, take the map and then just hold it, right? But if I can take the whole map, force them into their base, and then just keep them there, or then just like take defensive positions further out, then it doesn't matter. Here I managed to get a Molotov off, which just forces his retreat. That machine gun was very lucky to escape with his life there. He has toes on fire. And that would have been big too. He's only got 2 machine guns. And at the moment, the Zisses are pretty useless. Put the machine gun away. Didn't expect his entire army to be here. And even though I did lose the machine gun, it actually wasn't too bad because it did give me information that his whole army was here. He was not pushing out to take any area. However, army-wise, I am still pretty behind here, especially now that he has shock troops, which I'm not certain, but I believe are the most powerful units in the game, just from a raw sort of damage output category, at least for infantry, not vehicles. Still only has the first 2 buildings. It's not going for snipers or peanut battalions. That's kind of a common thing with Soviets, is that if you see people go heavy on machine guns and defensive units, you'll never ever see them get the other building, the special rifle command. Yeah, he's got central VP. He's got this point, which actually was useful to able to fuel cache on it, because otherwise he never would have been able to get a KV out this game. So you can see just the area that he's got controlled with these. Now, this is something that usually bugs me in games. But thankfully, this map has very few buildings on it, which is why I love this new map pool so much. Now, he's going out and kind of spreading himself thin. However, luckily for him, I did move most of my guys to the right here. And I don't actually have too much vision of exactly where his units are. I managed to get a grenade off there that he didn't notice, which killed the shock troop. Which is pretty crucial because of how powerful those guys are. Now, I could either go to the left side, or I could be like, you know what? You've got a bunch of guys on the right side. I don't think you're going to have much on this side. And in fact, he had the anti-tank guns completely low here. Even walked over my mine. So I was able to kill one, Didn't cap it. I would have liked to have destroyed it, but I don't know how to destroy them with, like... I mean, how do you destroy it with rifles? I think you have to, like, molly it or something, and don't think that molly would really do anything to it. I think I ended up killing it here, which by itself, again, wasn't that good, but what is good is simply preventing redundancy. I decided to go for another 2-2-2 here because I managed to get rid of both of them, at least temporarily. And that because he's going so heavy on machine guns and defense, I was like, okay, I can, at least for a short chunk of time, I can make use of this 2-2-1. Now, that unit I saw was very low, which is why I wanted to flank it. So now what I'm doing is I've got this sort of big blob that I'm leaving one unit behind each time to take territory. I've got this machine gun in the back. He's not getting this gas or this ammunition, so quite a few times this game I cut him off. Like, this cutoff here makes sense to me. So now, this guy here has really turned the tides for me. Gotten quite a few kills on his guys, taking out both anti-tank guns. He's got one back, hasn't accrued the second one. He's trying to slowly but surely get guys back. And actually, he didn't even get field infirmary. Wow, okay then. And right as I set up the machine guns, he moved away, which, and surprisingly, he actually retreated. He didn't need to retreat there. But I sent this guy back to cap this, because not only did I see fuel more important, but I had these guys coming in, and it's quicker for them to get to the VP than the gas. So I sent him to cap it, and I sent these guys over here. Brought these guys in here. Didn't see the machine gun until it was too late, and they were all suppressed, so just had to retreat. But that was fine, because I still had a few guys on the field. Slowly bringing out the 2-2-2. And I've got pretty much all the map covered. He did at least connect this up by taking this territory. He's got a machine gun here, and he's not pushing with them. I feel like the house would probably have been a better area. Especially in this case. In his view, he actually adjusted the camera. So he viewed it north to south. Yeah, just kind of maneuver around. Retreats with it. He is bringing up conscripts, though. I was trying to face him this way, but there's no actual way to do that. Even though there's a door here that you should be able to do. Maybe it's just that you can't go in. You can only go in the door. You can't shoot at the door. But I mean, you should be able to shoot out the door, in my opinion, because you can't walk into a building when your enemy's in there in the first place. So yeah, and I didn't even go for the for this level here. It doesn't even tell me what it is, but because the only real reason to go for that this game was for the repair without engineers, which is useful, but I got 2 of these specifically for that reason, and because they're just good DPS wise on their own. Had a machine gun here to lock down the central victory point. Saw the machine gun still there. Bringing down the artillery to get my machine gun out of there, and then cap. Should have waited a bit to cap until my machine gun was out of there. Again, another machine gun very lucky to live. His toes were in the fire. But I've got pretty much all my guys on the right, and this is the thing. Right, he's pushed back to his base, and he just doesn't even care. He's also got double pack in this area. Also not sure how he has this much vision. There's another scenario where even though I lost the 2-2-1 again, it gave me information that both these guys were here. And again, they can't run away. Got to vet one conscript because he left it there. And what really annoyed me here is that my machine gun just straight up wasn't firing. It can clearly fire through that, but it wasn't for no reason. His artillery barrage was late here. And I was able to flank these machine gun. And amazingly, these guys aren't dead. He retreated a lot quicker than he did usually in this game. Now, I was planning on capturing these points and even going after them a bit more to kill their squads, but I knew there was a guy in the middle here. So I was like, okay, let me take this VP, but also sandwich him, because if he retreats, he's going to be retreating right into my units. So I know for sure this guy's dead. So pretty quickly, he lost a bunch of his infantry. And he's just now getting the next tier. Even though he's had a massive amount of gas this game, quite frankly. I got this, and I don't actually think I used it. I used it effectively once this game with the smoke barrage. That's pretty much the only thing I actually would use it for. It doesn't cost any ammunition, so I might use it in the future as a way to push machine guns. But that's going to be about it. Like, I don't actually really like it. It's not accurate. The barrage doesn't really do too much for me, at least. It's like a worse Hauser, basically. Here we had a machine gun versus machine gun fight, but mine was set up a bit better. And again, he's very, very defensive when I've got triple VPs. Just setting up to take this gas from him. And couldn't retreat. Or retreated, had to retreat. I thought that guy ended up dying, but apparently not. No, he is taking this VP, but I've got the central one. I've also got the machine gun here. And at this point, I'm like, okay. I just want to keep eyes on all areas. And I actually got a Panzer around the same time that he actually ended up getting a KV-8. I think mine finished pretty much right around the time his started. So yeah, I'm starting up to get a Panzer now. And how expensive is actually a Panzer compared to KV-8? 140. I think the other was 135. 145. Okay, so gas-wise, it is a little bit more expensive. 380. 390. So it's 5 more gas and 10 more manpower. So that is actually very, very close, but a tiny bit more efficient. If you trade it, like if you lose the Panzer and you lose a KV-8, it's a tiny bit more efficient for the Panzer, just on a pure resource basis. Yeah, you can see just how powerful these shock troops are. Mollied him off, barely got that guy to live. But yeah, I mollied him through there. Didn't quite finish that due to poor control. But I knew there was a machine gun here, so I smoked it and then pushed up. And he immediately retreats his guys out of there. And it just allows me to take this entire area here. And something I've learned about tanks in this game is that a lot of the time, you want to just, this is a bit of a mistake going this far. I didn't mean to do that. But usually, have your tanks kind of close to the front, but don't reveal you have a tank until they show that they have a tank, or that they have something that you want to get rid of. So yeah, I went a bit too far there, and so I had to retreat all my guys. But I have a lot of guys back at the base. This is pretty much a role reversal since the start of the game. I got a bunch of squad wipes on him, and now I've got 5 Volksgrenadier, this guy, which I can't even pronounce, 2 Engineers, Storm Pioneer squad, and then 2 heavy machine guns, and even a... I'm not even sure exactly what to call this, an IG maybe? IG-18, and a Panzer. He also has a KV flamethrower. He has a big push here. So I managed to get a squad wipe there. Didn't expect it. And this KVA, or maybe not this one, but he had a few of them, but they did some decent work. Because again, they kill infantry very, very quickly. So you have to retreat the second that you see it. And because of how defensive it was, and the fact that he had 2 packs, it was very hard for me to actually kill this. So like here, this guy's dying super quickly. I was trying to get a shot off. Got one hit there. One's this hit, the other didn't. But I had to retreat. As you can see, I got 2 more hits, barely missed. And now here I can face this way when previously I couldn't, which is super annoying to say the least. That's another thing that really should be fixed about this map. Not quite yet, but eventually I did build the next thing just for some more engineer squads, basically, just for repairing factor. Now, usually I would go in this tower here, but after what happened in the earlier chunks of this game, I'm not going to do that. So I've got him set up here. Just behind the box. Basically, it has vision of this whole area, which basically allows me to, okay, I'm clicking me. This should give me, there we go. So yeah, I've got a lot of vision of this point, because he's likely going to go for this point for the VP. And if he is going for the VP, this VP has to go from the center, basically. So I'm moving my squads out again. He's got the tank here. Tried to get a shot, however, there was a shock troop in the front, which baited the shot. What I should have done is once the KV came, I should have clicked on this. But he went a bit too deep, so I was able to get quite a few Fausts off, because I still had a massive amount of ammunition, because I didn't plant a massive amount of mines this game. I really didn't want to retreat these guys because I wanted to repair the Panzer. Especially because his engine was damaged. I knew he basically couldn't fight. He was half health, his engine was damaged, and it's already slow enough as a start. Yeah, double Pioneer squad repairing. I'm probably just going to call it a Pioneer, even though it's Storm Pioneer. Which is basically Storm, but with like a fancy like accent. I think it might mean something different, but I'm not certain. So he's moving a big squad out here. He's got the 2 Zisses and the tank here. And he's got a conscript here as well defending this VP. But yeah, I've had at least pretty much 2 VPs for the past, like, I don't even know, like 10 minutes or so. He just hasn't pushed out like he has now. He's only pushed out like this recently. So I send machine gun up there, and I was like, okay, let me split up my guys a bit. He's putting most of his guys up there, but I don't want to split up my forces too much. I've got so much infantry. He's got Zisses. He's got a KV tank. I don't want to have all my guys clumped up when he's putting all of his effort onto slow, sort of static defense units. So I did kind of a loop around there because I didn't want to overextend myself into a possible Zis. Here I went for a barrage. Just got rid of that. That would have landed right on top of him. But I've got this machine gun. Got the Panzer also helping out to destroy them. Because I had a feeling they were still over here, which they were. And here, because I knew his machine gun was focused on this one, I decided to move my machine gun in the back, which will force this guy to retreat. And with a Panzer here, there was a good chance of getting a kill on it. He did move his Zisses over. Quite a few bounce there. I got lucky there. Adjusted his course. One missed. Wasn't a bounce. As KV comes in from the back. Doesn't even look like he repaired it at all, which ends up being his demise here. His Panzer's taking ages to fire. And I knew his Zisses were kind of close. That was a shot that bounced. At this point, I was like, okay, I'm just diving for it. I don't care if my Panzer dies, I just want to get this guy dead. And that's exactly what happened. We got a trade. Panzer for a KV-8. And I actually have way more gas. I just can't use it because I'm having to constantly repair these guys. And I actually could have easily gone for a Panzer here. But I was like, you know what? I've got so much gas, I might as well use it. I'm going to go for a Panther. If he's just going to keep going for KV8s, I don't want to use units that are equal to that. I did end up delaying my tank quite a bit because of this. I could have easily gotten a Panzer and kept on replenishing, but I really wanted to get a Panther out. It actually would have even been probably even better to get a Jagged Panzer, which is a anti-tank Panzer. Because if he's using heavy tanks, it's easy for me to attack him, and he can't really like outmaneuver the static turret. Yeah. So that actually covers this and this. That's actually kind of interesting. So this might want to put like here or so. And that can like fully cover this. Or actually it even covers that a bit. That's kind of nice. So he is pushing out to the left a bit. Did push him back initially, but got to replenish my guys. But again, he's been focusing here and up here. So if I just push one of those positions, he's not going to be able to hold everywhere because he's just not done a good job of it. So he's got a KV8 out because he had plenty of gas. But now I've got a Panther halfway done. So all I had to do in this game was maneuver well around the Zisses, which is pretty hard to do when there's two of them. I've got a pretty big force here. I think I ended up retreating here because I didn't realize he had a machine gun here. And as you can see, all of my guys were suppressed. And this is the thing I just hate about Company of Heroes 2 in general. Like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The second you get hit by a machine gun, you're suppressed instantly. And that's not even historically accurate either. Like, many of like the famous offensives in World War II were just based off of running face first in machine guns. And yeah, a lot of the time it doesn't go well. But that's how it was fought a lot of the time. There at least should be like an ability that infantry have that like they don't get affected by suppression. So I was late on that retreat, so I did lose him. I think that might have hit a mine there. And I've even got a Panzer Shrek here. So I went in with the Panzer, or with the Panther, really hoping to kill him. One shot bounced, backed up a bit. I was like, okay, I've got a lot of health. All I need is one more shot. And thankfully it happened. So I knew even with double hit, this guy was living. And that was the crucial turning point, and I knew it. Once I still had a Panther and I killed another one of his KV8s, even if he made another one, if he had made another one, I could have made another one. I could have made another Panzer, another Panther even. And that was the big thing. Trading equally at this point is going in my favor. The second that I start trading better than equally, I'm winning this game. Which is exactly what happened. He's gotten a KV8. I've got a Panther. Getting a machine gun. And I think in like the next minute or so I get a Panzer. Yeah, something I should definitely think about a bit more is going for the tank destroyer when my opponent's going for the KV8s. They are a little hard to control, so when the opponent is going heavy on the Zisses, maybe not so much. But if they have like maybe one, it might be worth going for. Just on a raw power level. Yeah, three VPs temporarily. He never picked up this machine gun, which was a little surprising. Did see this machine gun, and it wasn't that far from me, so I was like, okay, do not stop moving. If he sets up, immediately throw a molly. Which is exactly what happened. Did another artillery barrage, but again was a little late on it. Not sure exactly what I treated there. I actually think I might remember. I think what happened there is I selected one unit and retreated, but for some reason it retreated all my units. So I'm repairing the Panther a bit far back. He still has 2 VPs, but I do have a VP lead, so I can let that happen for a little bit. Yeah, I've got a Panzer now. And he hasn't done anything with this either yet. In fact, both of his Zisses were in the base. Same with the machine guns and a shock troop. So even though I've got a lot of guys in the base myself, I've got more guys out on the field. Got a machine gun a little further back because I expect him to push in and just kind of approaching it cautiously. You never want to walk into machine guns because I thought he might have had a machine gun here, but he didn't. So I decided for a second to put this guy in here, get some vision. I thought it actually gave me a bit more vision than this. Did lose a guy there. But this is the big moment here. I've got a machine gun and a Volksgrenadier in the nest here. So he tries to push out here and he just can't. I did put this guy away, but I retreated him instantly. So this didn't do anything because I was very quick on the reaction there. Now we got Panzer and a Panther, both with a machine gun. He's got a KV heavy tank, but again, he's not pushing with it. He's just kind of staying static in this area here. Also a Panzer Shrek there that he never picked up. I think the engineers at least should have picked it up. Because he didn't go for either of these, so might as well pick up some anti-tank gun. I was going for the machine gun. Went a bit too far forward, but I kind of just wanted to bait his Zisses over here so Mike could move my my Panzer around. Because this is basically what I was trying to do. I was trying to bait his tank to come over and be like, okay, yeah, come after me, buddy. And that's exactly what happened here. So now I've got Panther fire in there. Now I've got Panzer going. And now he has to readjust his Zisses. Because I was focusing so much on the tanks, my retreat there was a bit late. Now, it didn't actually end up killing it, but because of how late his Zis rotation was, I was able to get back with both. And that was very good for me because I still have this VP. And it forces this to retreat and go back for repairs, where the Panther is still fine, and the Panzer is only at half. And I can retake this with my machine gun. Now, here, he didn't go for another KV-8 to my astonishment. He went with a tank destroyer. Which, given how static he is, makes sense, but he could definitely use something a bit more powerful. Or something a bit more maneuverable, like a T-34. But with a Panther, or Panther and a Panzer, I can understand going for the tank destroyer over it. But yeah, repair him back. Still didn't build it yet, but yeah, getting to supply half track now. I'm like, okay, I'm getting. At this point, I've got plenty of gas. I could even get another Panther or Panzer if I wanted to. So I'm like, okay, let me just get some static engineers going. That's the whole reason I went for this. Was just for some static engineers. There goes that guy's clothing rack. So I'm using the Panther as basically like a static turret right now. I've also got this guy to fire in the middle. But as you can see, he's not even attacking because he doesn't have vision. So I move the Panther a bit forward. He's got these two guys, again, very far back. He can't even attack the VP. Or this VP, for that matter. So yeah, just suppression into nade. Forces a retreat. Now here, he went really far for the Panzer. Or actually, I think he might have even gone for the Storm Pioneers. But now he's retreating. He's not angling his retreat at all. In fact, he went forward here. So I just went right in. Because the problem with the Su-85 is that it has a static turret. And his Iska's in a very good position. So I got out very close to dying, but not quite dying. Even went for another mine here, which he did end up seeing. I'm not actually certain if he realized it, because this is something I do sometimes, is that sometimes I'll plant mines right in their faces, and I'll be like, he's gonna forget about it, or he might not even realize that I'm planting a mine. Now, similar reason to before, this machine gun's here just for vision of this area. Same reason with this Volksgrenadier. With this machine gun and this Volksgrenadier, he cannot get to this victory point without me seeing it, which is huge. And I've got all my focus on the central victory point. So at this point, all I have to do is just hold the VPs, and I've won this game. So as you can see here, I've got Storm Pioneer Squad, and I've just finished this for Repair Pioneers. So now this guy is going to go from low health to full very, very quickly. And on top of that, I've only got one Storm Pioneer Squad. So yeah, he goes back to full very, very quickly. Moves in, trying to take the VP, but I've got a Panther in position. Retreated a little late. Do think this guy managed to get away. Yep. And even if I lost this Grenadier, all I was trying to do was just take the VP. Because a triple VP at this point would just immediately end the game, pretty much. And I'm not even sure if he even realized what the VPs were at, honestly. Because he was still playing so static, even when it was like it was so dire. Like, he's got all these guys so far back. Yeah, so he's all going after that point. Even going with my Panther for a second. And yep, as you can see, he didn't even have his guys anywhere close to the VP. I had most of my guys over here, but I did have a few guys over here just to watch this area. So yeah, he just didn't push. He pushed every now and again once. Good timing, to be fair, but there's a lot of other scenarios he could have pushed this game that he didn't. I even destroyed this to prevent him from getting more fuel, which would have been big, because he wouldn't have been able to get this Su-85 out this game. He had enough for 3 KV-8s and an Su-85. I had enough for 2 221s, 2 Panzers, and a Panther, and I have over 500 left, and tons of munitions. Like, pretty much any time I could, I was using incendiaries, basically any time that I could. But the issue is, like, it's not something you can really spam with this much ammunition, because if you walk through it, you'll get fired on too. I've never used these before, and yeah, sadly none of this is like an artillery strike that I can call down. But yeah, I was trying to plant mines a bunch this game, but I just had so much munitions this game. I more than I knew what to do with. The gas was an issue that a lot of people, even top players, run into, which is that you need gas and manpower to get tanks. And I had a bunch of gas, but I constantly had to replenish my units, so I couldn't quite get the tanks out. So I even waited to replenish some of my units a bit to get the Panther out, which ended up doing me pretty well this game. Just the one moment that I had a Panther and a Panzer trade for a KV-8, that was the key turning point there. Or I think it was just the Panther. It was a Panther with, I think, a mine and a Storm Pioneer, yeah, that traded for a KV-8. And at that moment, I had a tank, he had no tank. And once he did get a tank, I had 2 tanks, which was the key turning point. So yeah, 42-52. Probably one of my longest games. Pretty close game. Just a little bit too static. But that's kind of how you have to play it with these units. But yeah, early on he was way ahead, especially with the infantry, but I got a lot of squad wipes on him. But later on, he got quite a few squad wipes on me with these the KV-8s. So that'll be it for this game. I've got quite a few more games I have to show you, so see you guys in the next video.